Hey, good evening, everybody. We are so happy to have you here on our Open Forum Wednesday, and we start off with really disappointing news, and that is Malik Monk is not the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. It goes to Reed of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Ryan, is that just because of the year that Minnesota had? The fact that they were near the top of the West the entire year, ended up not being number one, but do you think that was the deciding factor? It was a very, 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 very close vote.
Yeah, I think Grant, it was the closest in a really long time. I think there's part of it to that, Grant. Nas stepped in when Karl Anthony Towns went out, right? And he really kind of helped that team. But I was going to actually start answering your question with a question. Have you seen in the last 10 years individual awards start leaning more towards teams?
Shouldn't be. An individual award should be based on an individual's level of play. And I also think that the fact that the Kings basically crumbled once Malik Monk got hurt also validates, not only the individual aspect of the award, but how much he meant to the team. So in this particular instance, I like Naz Reid. I think he's really good, but to me, Malik Monk got screwed here.
Malik Monk is he's had the most points off the bench 2 seasons in a row, first time in over 30 years. So yeah, he got screwed. But over or bigger than that, Grant, is it an indictment on this Kings organization? Are we
Yes.
missing something? You have Domas, no All-Star game. Fox, no All-Star game, and now Malik Monk clearly left
Yep.
out by both the coaches and the writers. Napes.
Yeah, you're right. It is a part of a bigger picture, and the bigger picture is Sacramento still does not garner the respect around the league, and I think that's really unfortunate based on the body of work over the last 2 years. I don't have a problem with Fox not being on the All-Star team this
Me
year, but
either.
I certainly had a problem with Sabonis not being an All-Star. He clearly deserved to be an All-Star. I think it was one of the biggest All-Star snubs that I've seen in a long time. And now you add to that Malik Monk. It's just, it's a bad look. It's not good. And I think it is disrespect. It is how people perceive the Sacramento Kings franchise. And I think that is unfortunate. You know what? Whoops. Let me turn this down. I've got my
No
hockey
worries.
game on here. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
that's right.
Um,
Got a multi.
you know what? You know me. I got to watch my
Yeah,
hockey. But
sure.
you know what? Honestly, it's part of a bigger picture about how people see the Sacramento Kings. I think you bring up a really good point.
Yeah, it makes you wonder because this is the best they've been for 2 years out of 16 for the most part.
Yeah,
But how does that change, Grant? Outside of winning a championship, what changes that?
win a playoff series. I think. I thought it changed last year when you had Sabonis and Fox was added to the
Yeah,
All-Star team, and Mike Brown was the unanimous Coach of the Year. See, the people that are
great
going
point.
to take the other side of what we're saying are going to, guys, you're wrong. Look at what happened last year, and they make a good point. Last year, who was the unanimous, not only Coach of the Year, unanimous Coach of the Year? It had never happened before.
Yeah, Mike
Okay,
Brown.
right? And you had two All-Stars. So for the folks that are going, you guys are just crying and okay, you know what? You have a good argument because we're only 1 year removed from three honors that went to Kings players and a coach. So maybe we're overreacting to this a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good take, one that I think Sacramento needs to hear. And I mean, time will tell. I guess the open market value for Malik Monk will let us know whether it's an overreaction or not.
And I wonder how much money this is going to cost Malik Monk. I wonder if he had a bonus in his clause. I don't think
Great
it's going to
point.
cost him anything on the open market. I mean, people that like Malik Monk are going to pay Malik Monk, and the fact that he finished, a close second to the six, that's not going to affect him from a monetary point of view. But it's a nice piece of hardware to put on your mantle. That's for darn sure. Sixth Man of the Year is quite an honor, and now maybe he never gets one. Now I don't know.
Well, that's what hurts the most to me. It's not so much, Sacramento, it's Malik. He wanted it bad, Grant. He made it clear in his
Yeah.
exit interview how bad he wanted it. So hopefully there is another route for him. But congratulations to Naz Reid. We're not saying he wasn't deserving. We just think
No.
Malik was more deserving.
Well, okay, and then this gets to another picture, okay? Malik is part of a Sacramento Kings team that this year had no honors, no All-Stars,
None.
and he gets, in his mind, screwed. Does this change how he feels about this situation for him that he needs to go somewhere where he can be more marketable. There's part of that too. Listen, I know this, okay? Malik is going to the team that pays him the most money.
Yes.
That's where he's going. And if that team's not Sacramento, they're going to lose him.
And you better start. I'm hoping Sacramento has a plan either way, but that's got to start dropping now. You heard from Coach Brown, Monty McNair today with their exit interviews, and clearly Malik Monk is that shoe that needs to drop first for the Kings.
There's no question about it. I mean, what happens with him dictates everything else that happens in this offseason.
So my question for
the first domino.
Yeah, and my question actually for you, I'm going to intertwine this with the Warriors. Do you think in some way Malik Monk and Klay Thompson are intertwined in this offseason? One of those shoes needs to drop to determine Malik's value? Or
no,
Klay's?
I mean, I think Klay Thompson doesn't have a lot of value around the league right now. Why would you, if you were a general manager, would you pay Klay Thompson anything close to what Malik Monk's going to get? I wouldn't. Klay Thompson is no longer a worthy shooting guard in the NBA. He's just not.
I think Klay is going to be in the same neighborhood as Malik. I think Malik will be high. I think Klay will probably be between 12 and 15. You don't think he'll
not going to be anywhere near Malik Monk? And if I mean, it only takes one team, but why would any team, after watching Klay Thompson play this year and how many horrible, horrible games he had, give Klay Thompson a deal? I mean, as Jerry likes to say, and I hate to say this, the guy's a dead horse.
Well, it's the Draymond effect. That's what I keep hearing. Well, they didn't have Draymond. They went through injuries. Every team does. So teams could focus on Klay more. Jerry's right. You're right. He's not.
Look at the eyeball test.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you forget, take all your numbers and the Draymond Green and everything else and just make believe that doesn't exist for a minute. Just what do your eyes tell you when you watch Klay Thompson? And what do your eyes tell you when you watch Malik Monk?
Go completely different directions. They're trending the opposite ways. I mean, the Kings held Klay Thompson to no points in the first play-in game. If I would have told you that before that game tipped off, what would your response have been?
Listen, I'm a gigantic Klay Thompson fan. I love the guy in every way, shape, or form, but his days are done. I mean, can he have a good game every now and then? Yes, he can. But you're not going to pay a lot for that. There's many other options that are available to teams that are a lot better than Klay Thompson right now.
I just think if he's willing to take a discounted rate, which still I think could be double digits, like 10 to 12, and come off the bench as a 6-man, 7th-man, Grant, I think there's teams that are on the verge that will take a look at him. This is not.
I'll tell you, I hope it's not Sacramento, because to me that would be a waste of money. And I love Klay Thompson. I love Klay. I absolutely love him, but I think that would be a waste of money to get Klay Thompson at this juncture of his career.
You're spot on, my friend. I completely agree with you, but we see it every year. And by all accounts, this is not a great free agency year. So there's not a lot out there. It's going to be more of a seller's market.
Yep.
So, hey, we put the link in the chat. We certainly want to hear from everybody tonight. It is Open Forum Wednesday. You can go whichever way you want. Grant, you ready to take some calls?
Yeah, I am. I wanted to say, how about the Miami Heat? Are they just unbelievable or what?
Oh,
they beat Boston. They're incredible to me. I mean, Eric Spoelstra, they had no Jimmy Butler, and they went up and beat Boston tonight. I mean, think about what they did. I mean, how does that happen?
And they kept Boston at arm's length. Boston tried to make some runs. Miami kept it at that 8.9 area. It's just the Miami Heat. Just like the Kings are good for a couple of bad losses a year, the Miami Heat are going to be good for a couple of really good wins that they have no business being in.
Incredible. No doubt. All right, let's get to some calls, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. Like I said, you guys can call with the link above Grant or in the chat. We bring in Condog. Welcome to Open Forum Wednesday.
Well, I think we got a long offseason ahead of us as the Kings, because there's a lot of things that need to be discussed on where they want this team to go, if they want to win within the next year or two, or if they want to play maybe a 4-year, window. And that depends on how much you go in on, maybe on a Zach LaVine type player, if they're willing to roll the dice on him. I know he's injury prone and has a massive contract. Maybe another person out on the market. But again, another question is, what do we have to trade that would add value to a team like that? Because I don't think a lot of teams want an injured Kevin Herter right now, or even a Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, those two players are not getting you Zach LaVine. That's for darn
Yeah.
sure. I mean, you bring up a good point. Listen, I think we covered this, and I think you would agree, Condog and Ryan. If you bring back this same roster next year, you're going to have the same result. You're going to be good. You're going to win in the mid 40s. You might win 46. You might win 47. But as we saw this year, it's probably not going to get you where you want to be, and that's in the playoffs.
Yeah, and also I think another thing that needs to be addressed is free throws. I need a free throw camp like all year, summer round for these guys, because how many games we lost just due to that fact alone? Because we would be in the playoffs right now if we didn't blow that Milwaukee game, that Phoenix game.
Yep.
And in Condog, you probably beat the bad teams as well, Portland, Detroit, etc. It not so much the free throw percentage, the attempts this year. They were
the attempts were down
far
too.
Down.
Yeah, just attacking the basket. Yeah, this team did not attack the basket as well as it did last year. They really just went and settled for threes a lot, and we lived and died by it.
And that's why they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Condog.
He does bring up a good point about the free throw shooting. How many games did the Kings lose this year because of free throws? And you bring up a good point, Ryno. Lack of attempts too, right? That's an issue. And to me, it starts with your point guard.
It has to, Grant. I mean, you only have two creators, and he's one of them for the most part. So, and I don't want to be too tough on De'Aaron because I think the defense really focused in on him and Sabonis this year. But again, that's why you're a max player. You gotta figure it out.
The defense focuses in on the other team's best players every game. That's part of being an all-star in this league, as you well know. Sure. And the other part of Fox, let's face it, you can take a pounding when you go and drive, and there's that part of it. So, it's. I just would like to say this because we keep on mentioning this. The Kings, when their offense is in full gear, is so fun to watch. They're fun to watch, but it's also so frustrating to watch because the moment the threes stop to fall, that's why they give up such big leads, right? How many times, like we talked about, did the Kings give up 20-point leads, 15-point leads? And it's just because they go through one of those lows where, and Ryan, how many times did we come on at halftime with everything looking good?
Too many.
Big lead. And by the time the fourth quarter began, they didn't even lead the game anymore. It's just the Jekyll and Hyde of this team is incredible to me.
Yeah. And conversely, Grant, there's games where they led up until the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. And then, the wheels come off the wagon, proverbially. My goodness. All right. We go back to the phones. As we said before, you can scan the QR code above Grant or go to the chat. Welcome in tonight, Charlie.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, Charlie, go ahead.
I'm a huge Kings fan, Grant. I admire you a lot. I'm 18 years old, and I grew up watching the Kings. And I'm a big Broncos fan, so I'm excited for the NFL draft tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I also saw a mock trade earlier today with the Kings trading with the Trailblazers for Jeremy Grant. I think it was Kevin Herter, Harrison Barnes, and 2 first-round picks. And I just wanted your guys' thoughts on that.
I don't think the Kings are going to be able to offer the 2 first-round picks. But as far as getting Jeremy Grant, I love Jeremy Grant. I've always been a Jeremy Grant fan. I would love to have him on the Kings, but I don't think that is going to get it done. I think it would take a little bit more creativity than that. I mean, if I'm Portland, I'm looking to they did it last year with the trade of Damian Lillard, but completely hit the reset button. And Jeremy Grant's, a tremendous player.
Yeah. I think the only possibility that could happen is if we were to somehow trade the pick that we owe Atlanta next year. We trade this pick and give it back to them, but I don't know if they'd agree to that. So we'll see what happens.
The other thing you have to consider, Charlie, is the salaries with the new CBA going into effect. I don't think, just off the top of my head, Barnes and Herter salaries, they might be right around Jeremy Grant's annual, but I don't have those numbers. I think, Charlie, the Kings, instead of making a big splash, they've got to identify the teams that are going to be looking to offload kind of that middle of the road talent. Like, it may be for the Kings, an example, a Davion Mitchell, right? Somebody like that where they're going to have a tough decision on their hands. One name I'm going to throw out there, Kobe White in Chicago. His contract is extremely friendly. I think you could go get him because Chicago's not too far off from hitting that rebuild button as well. And you address the point guard position, because before we go out, get forwards, you got to figure out what you're doing there, especially if Malik might be out the door.
Yeah. I would say if I were to look at the Western and Eastern Conference, if I were to compare a team like with the Kings from the Eastern Conference, I would say the Bulls are like one of the best teams to compare them with, because they're kind of both in the same situation where they lost in the play-in. They made it to the second play-in game and they lost. So, yeah.
No doubt.
Hey, Charlie, you said you're 18?
Yeah, I am.
That's how my hair used to look, the same color when I was 18. So now you know what you're going to look like when you get to be my age, okay?
Yeah,
Which is not bad, but that's exactly what when you first came out, I'm like, oh my God, that's what my hair used to look like a long time ago.
Charlie, it's okay. There's a lot more to life than looks, okay? You're going to be, no, I'm just kidding, buddy. I love the do, man. That's great.
Thank you.
Charlie,
thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure. Call again. Take care.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm not kidding you, man. That's exactly what my hair looked like. I was like, oh my God.
The open from last year, I think it's the picture of you and Larry Bird.
Yeah.
That one, you've got the hair going like Charlie.
Yeah. Yep.
Love
absolutely. It. Yep.
So.
Very impressive. All right. So, we talk about the Kings, but we can also, this is open forum. We can go in any direction you want. If you want to talk about the other NBA playoffs, you want to talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs, or what else is going on in the world of sports, we can certainly do that. Happy to have you right here on If You Don't Like That. And Ryno, I think your shows that you're doing in the afternoon are great. Why don't you tell the folks that maybe not be familiar with what you're doing, how they can join you in the early part of the afternoon?
Yeah, no doubt. You guys have had such a great response to the King's Court that we went live once in a while, and the response was even greater. So we're going live now. 2:00. You can find us here on If You Don't Like That. You get about an hour of the King's Court, your calls, some takes. We'll get audio from that day. And it doesn't have to be Kings always. We can talk a little bit of other stuff too and have a lot of fun.
And we also are coming up on the close of the auction. So if you go to the website, Ryan will steer you in the right direction. But we have a couple of items for you to look at on our exclusive auction.
Yeah, I got it up right here. You can go watch the nice video from Grant, which is really cool. I've played that on the King's Court a couple of times, but here are the items, y'all. We have the signed Jerry Reynolds and Wayman Tisdale shirt right there for you. That also comes, and it's an original Jerry Reynolds show shirt. Comes with Golf Valley High with myself and you and a buddy as well. We've got Larry and Jerry on a shirt. And that comes with a digital experience with Grant. That is pretty damn cool. If you want to be a broadcaster, if you want to talk Giants, if you want to talk Bowling Green lacrosse, Grant is there for it, right, partner?
I'm right there. And what I made a mistake. I should have just added a weekend in Miami down with that backdrop that I used for the, I should have done that, but I'm too late for that now. But yeah, you know what? We're very happy that you are able to go onto my website. As Ryan said, grantnapier.com will also get you there.
It will not. It will not. It will not.
It will.
Unless you change.
It will. It will. I just went on there this morning to check it out. Grantnapier.com will also get you on there. And if you don't like that.com.
Great news.
Go ahead. You right while you're talking to me, go to grantnapier.com and you'll get right on. So,
I'm already past it. I will do that next time for sure. But go check out the auctions. It's how we fund the channel. Sorry for correcting you, by the way.
That's fine.
And, we don't ask for donations, but it's how we pay our expenses. And we appreciate your support as it is. But we want to keep doing upgrades. Grant, we did calls this year, video calls. Yep. We've got our tech dialed in. We've got new stuff coming your way, as you've seen. So anyways, we go back to the phones. Jason, welcome in with Grant and Ryno on Open Forum Wednesday.
Jason.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking my call. Love the Open Forum, by the way, Wednesday.
Thank you.
One thing I like to see at some point is if you don't mind giving each individual Kings player a grade for the season, that would be
Sure.
great. Love that. Second thing is, what I don't understand is how would the Kings actually offer Malik Monk enough money to stay? Like, how do the numbers work out? I don't know that. As I said, I'm a huge Aztec fan, and the Aztecs did a great job this season, although UConn was just out of control awesome. They just steamrolled. They were incredible.
Yep.
So those two things, if you don't mind, if I can take that off the air. But for Open Forum Wednesday, I'm a huge Penguins fan. I'm kind of surprised they didn't make the playoffs this year. And also a huge Steeler fan. So the Steelers are not the Cowboys, so that's good. But Grant, what are your thoughts on the Steelers quarterback situation? Because they only have two quarterbacks, I believe, on the roster right now: Russell Wilson and the guy from Chicago.
Yeah,
And
as far as Fields and Wilson go, I still look. Well, first of all, I'm a huge Mike Tomlin fan. I think he's one of the great coaches of his generation. But to me, they're the fourth team in that division right now. I mean, Baltimore to me is better than them. Cleveland to me is better than them. And Cincinnati, although they've got a couple of players that want out of Dodge, but if Joe Burrow's healthy and they have Chase who's healthy, they're still, in my opinion, better than Pittsburgh. So even with Wilson and Fields, I'm not sold on where Pittsburgh is right now. I would never count them out because of how they're coached. But if I'm looking right now before the draft, I'd have to say they're fourth. Now they're not like at the bottom of the pack so far away from the rest of the teams. I think that division is very well balanced. I think there's a very little separation between some of those teams. But I mean, objectively, I got to put Baltimore as the best team in that division.
right.
And then after that, I do think it's up for grabs. But and again, maybe you disagree with me, but I got to put both Cleveland and Cincinnati a little bit ahead of Pittsburgh right now.
No, I would agree. I was curious about the quarterback situation. I think they only have two quarterbacks on the roster. They got rid of everybody.
We only need one.
That's true, but they went through what, 3 or 4 last year.
Yeah, but they were all bad. At least you
That's
got.
true.
I think they've improved their quarterback situation right now. Will they pick up a third? Yeah, they will. But they're not going to pick up anyone that is going to step in and play ahead of those other two guys.
So you don't think Russell Wilson's washed? I mean,
No, I don't think he's washed. Ryan knows this better than me because he's watched him play almost every game of his career. I don't think he's washed. I just don't think he is what he used to be. But I don't think he's it's not like he can't play anymore.
He's not like Klay Thompson.
No,
Hey,
a
that's
great analogy.
debatable. No, I'm just kidding.
Last year I saw some of his throws. He was looking a little tired, a little long in the tooth on that one. And then Fields, I don't know much about him. I didn't see a lot of Chicago games. So I was
Well,
just
all
kind
you
of
need to know
surprised.
is that the Bears gave up the farm to get him, and 3 years later they didn't want him. That's all you need to know about
Right.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, it's not looking that good. I don't think. I just think they need somebody stronger at quarterback, which is what they've needed for a long time. They seem to, I mean, did JJ Watt win the Defensive Player of the Year last year?
JJ Watt? You mean TJ?
Oh, TJ
TJ
Watt. Yeah,
Watt.
TJ.
Yeah,
for the
you
Steelers.
confused
Yeah.
me.
My apologies.
I can't even
I
remember
thought-
who won the Defensive Player of the Year, but he's really, really good, and we know that. But that's the Steelers to me are. Here's the other aspect. If you have to ask who their quarterback is, then they don't really have a quarterback.
Right.
And both
I
Russell
disagree.
Wilson and Justin Fields are at opposite ends of the spectrum because Fields is still young and probably needed a change of scenery and has a lot more upside. You already know what Russell Wilson's upside is, and he's already achieved that, and that's
Right.
evaporated from his game. So, listen, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback all year for Pittsburgh, and I don't think Justin Fields is going to be the starting quarterback all year. They're both going to play. They really are. That's the way it's going to go.
Jason, let me hop in really quick about
Yeah.
Russell Wilson. I'm actually, for the first time, optimistic about someplace he's going to play football outside of Seattle because what he needs around him, his best friend, is the running game. You can't put him in a Sean Payton offense where you're asking him to make all
Great
these
point.
throws. That's
Yeah.
not Russell Wilson. He is a game manager to a T that's electric or used to be electric with his legs. So what benefits him is Mike Tomlin in that system. Like Pete Carroll, big system in Seattle, right? So
Right.
what it comes down to last year, Russell Wilson, for me, it was hard for me to watch him. There was times he went away
Yep.
from fumbles. That ain't gonna fly in Pittsburgh. That ain't Mike
No.
Tomlin football. So
Right.
And you
There's
give
a-
the ball to Najee, you run the
Yeah.
ball, and I agree with Ryan. I think that's a good point.
Yeah, he seems to be he's a character guy from what I've seen about him. I've heard a lot of things, watched a lot of interviews about him. And I mean, yeah, he might have been like a Clay Thompson in that sense, because some of his throws were not looking that great. But it seems like his character, I think you might be right. It might be because Mike Tomlin, I don't think Pittsburgh has missed a playoff appearance in the last 12 years or something.
Now, they're the real
It's
deal.
incredible.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
As far as your other questions, I'm happy to grade, the Kings players. I think that could be fun. We can do that. And the other question was Malik Monk, right?
Right.
So-
What do the Kings have to do to keep him, and what do they have to give up in salary, or how are they going to make that fit?
Well, let's first of all, Jerry and Ryan, I don't know if you have gone over this as much as Jerry did, but he thought there were only 4 teams
Yeah.
realistically that had the money to go after Malik Monk, but it only
Yeah.
takes one team.
Right.
Yeah, Jerry's right in the ballpark. Some people say about 9, but that group of 4 or 5 is where it's going to be at. Jerry said it was the Spurs, it was Orlando. Toronto used to be interested in him. Not sure if that's there. And there's a couple others. So let me get to the second part of your question really quick about what the Kings need to do to pay him the money. Well, they either need to free up space with their cap number, or they need to go into the luxury tax. They need to overpay for Malik, and
That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. Exactly. So in all, the Kings would have to make a significant move, in my opinion, to keep
Yep.
Monk at that number with the current stars on the roster.
I think with Monk, his personality, Monk is the actual true leader. I saw in the exit interview, to me,
Spot on.
you know what I mean? We've all been, and the 3 of us have been around professional athletes. And to me, he is the true leader of the team. He's a true leader. And I think if the Kings told him, hey, listen, we're going to make you a starter, which I believe he deserves. He really wants to be a starter. To me, he would settle for less if he was a starter. If not, I think he would be salivating if he didn't go to San Antonio, because San Antonio is going to be amazing. Wembanyama is just absolutely incredible. Like, he's insanely good. So I think if the Kings wanted to keep him, they could pay him a little bit less. But if they told him, hey, listen,
Not happening. You're wrong.
You don't-
I'm just telling
you
you,
don't
you're
think
wrong.
so?
They're not going to pay him
Okay.
less and keep him. Take my word for that. They're not going to
Okay.
pay him less and keep them.
Jason, you
Thank
got to
you.
remember, Malik was on the fringe of being out of the NBA 2 years ago. And now
Really?
he should have been the 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
He's
Yep.
going to get paid.
Yeah, he got screwed for sure. I mean, that's so Sacramento. I mean, it's so Sacramento.
Yeah.
Like, we get the Donaghy with their game and the Lakers. We
The
get,
Donaghy thing had nothing to do with the Lakers. I mean, I know that people he didn't even officiate any of the games in that series.
Oh, well,
I know the allegations about Game
Uh-huh.
6, but the Kings missed 14 free throws on their home
That's
court
true.
in Game
Yeah.
7, and you can't blame the referees for that.
Well, yeah, but the free throw disparity was just ridiculous.
I understand
mean,
that Game
yeah.
6 was, but I think there's and I don't mean to step on you for that,
Yeah,
but
no,
I
it's
want
all
to make
good.
sure we get the right information, because there are a lot of fans, because it's been such a long time, that think that Tim Donaghy officiated the games or a game in that series. He did not. I just wanted to make sure that the folks that are watching understand that, because you wouldn't believe how many people come up to me and go, gee, how is it that Donaghy could have officiated in this series? And he didn't officiate any of the games in the Kings-Lakers series.
I think what he did is he alluded to that there was some shenanigans going on.
Yes,
and
he did.
And then during that game specifically, I think he couldn't say anything. And then there's a bunch of other people, like I think it was Gilbert Arenas and a few other players were talking about that a lot of this stuff goes on. So, but I mean, that's old school. I mean, it seems so funny. I grew up in Rancho, and I don't know if you know, like I said, I was a ball boy for the Kings the first year when they came there. And my dad ran the 24-second shot clock for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. You know, Ray Savorn.
Impressive.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, but so I've always been around the Kings. It's comedy. I just
Yeah.
Sacramento. It's just something else. And then like what happened with Sabonis, and Sabonis is he's such a class act. That guy is just so classy. Love the guy. And for that to happen, it's just, and with Malik too, it's just poetic. I mean, it's just meant to be.
Yep.
So anyways.
Thank you. We
But
really appreciate you taking the time to call the show.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate the forum. One thing is, had the last open forum, and you had mentioned that you had already talked briefly about an update in your situation. And I listened to the whole podcast, almost the whole thing, and I didn't hear it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it was on there, but I'll give you a quick synopsis. My
Okay, thank
lawsuit
you.
is still ongoing. We feel it's going very well. My court date is set for November 13th. So if we get that far, that's when the trial will start. And there are a few things that are going on between now and then, but the lawsuit is going full steam ahead. And I will update everyone when there is something to be updated.
Well, November, there'll be a lot of this, Grant. A lot of praying for you.
Thank you, buddy.
We love you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate
Ryno,
you and
great
your support.
addition. Yeah, you're
Thank
most
you,
welcome.
Jason.
Thank
Hey,
you.
you are my
Aztecs.
Aztec brother. I love it.
That's right. Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.
Thank you, buddy. As far as the grades go, I'm okay doing that. I don't have a problem with grading, the Kings players. I think that you don't really have to grade everyone on the team. I think you really only have to grade the top 8 or 9 guys. But I'm happy to do whatever the audience wants. But I think that Malik Monk, I don't think he would go to Toronto. And I mean this. He has such a passion for golf, and you're not golfing in Toronto during basketball season. He does golf a lot on his days off. And I do believe that Orlando would be very, very, very attractive to him if they came with the right money.
I think so too. It's a up and coming program. I think he could be featured there. I think he can make their guys better. So we will see. Time will tell. We go back to the phones. We bring in our buddy Jay. Jay, how you doing tonight?
On, guys?
Hey, Jay.
How you guys doing?
How are you?
Good. You guys said to grade the players, and that kind of intrigued me. So, you guys want to start off with a player? I think someone like, what do you guys think about Fox this season?
Personally, I would give him a B, as in boy, this season.
I agree with that. I was going to say a B plus.
Okay.
I'll go on the other side of the spectrum on the Bs. I'm going to say a B minus.
Okay.
Keegan?
So we're all between 80 and 89. So I said B. I'm going to give him on a scale of 0. I'm going to do it this way. On a 0 to 100, I'm giving him about an 85.
Keegan or De'Aaron?
De'Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Averaging out, it kind of matches his 2K rating. I think they underrate him on there. But Keegan, what do you guys think about Keegan's second, year?
I would give Keegan an 89 this year. Wow. He made a huge jump from year 1 to 2, and he did it in a way that wasn't familiar to him. He got comfortable getting uncomfortable on both sides of the court.
Okay. I'm going to go a little bit lower. I'm going to give him about an 86. And the reason for that grade is we had too many games where he was a no-show on offense. As a starter playing that position, I can't have a no-show on offense. He did everything else very well. I love the guy, but I'm going to give him – I'm a little bit less than Ryan. I'm going to give him around an 86, no higher than an 87.
Wow. Okay. I would probably give him closer to like a B minus, just because I feel like you said, he didn't show – well, he's young, so he's kind of inconsistent when it comes to the offensive side. But then that goes back to what I was saying about Fox with the B plus. I mean, Fox still could have done a B plus without Keegan. There's no disrespect to Keegan, but Keegan couldn't do what Keegan did on those great nights, like breaking the 3-point record and stuff in Sacramento, if it wasn't for someone like Fox on his team, leading the team, being a leader.
Jay, here's where I have a tough time in Grant with grades is everybody's expectations are different of every single player. And so that's what makes this process a little bit hard for me because you make some good points, but on the converse side, that's why I gave Fox a B- because I didn't got
and you're right. That's why if we talk about Keon Ellis, I would give Keon Ellis an A because I'm grading on a curve because Keon Ellis is someone that no one even talked about when the season began. Okay. No one, when we talked about the Kings leading up to October, we didn't really even mention Keon Ellis's name. And he ended up being a big part of this team. And so based on expectations and based on where I thought his game could be, I got to grade these guys on a curve. That's why I gave Fox a lower grade than maybe some people would like. But whereas Keon Ellis, he way overachieved for this team, in my opinion. And when I mean overachieved, I don't mean that he played to a level that we won't see anymore. I mean, based on my expectations and based on where I saw the personnel on this team, his production, his minutes, his activity, and what he did for this team was much higher than I thought it would be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I see. Like you said, Ryno, it's like the personal expectation of what we already know this player can do. And Keon was one of those players where he didn't really know.
Yeah.
Or we under promise but overperform. I don't know if you ever heard that saying.
Totally.
Yeah, under promise, overperform.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Jay. And I think the $1 million question that a lot of the Kings fans want to ask is what were the organization's expectations of these guys? Wow. We know Fox, Sabonis, Monk, but outside of those three, what when Mike Brown sat down with the guys at the beginning of the season, this is what I'm expecting. What was it?
Playoffs.
But I mean individually to improve your game. Like Mike Brown today talked about every guy knows exactly what they need to improve on this year based off of some of the really bad losses that they had this year.
Yeah.
Ryan, what are you giving Keon Ellis?
I got to give him an A. Are you kidding me? He changed.
That's and that I'm glad you agree with me. What about you, Jay? Jay, do you see where our point is there?
Yeah, I definitely see where the point for sure. Keon Ellis, that one's kind of also tough for me. I'm really a tough grader. I don't like giving A's to anybody. Yeah. I guess I can give him a solid B. So not the B-, not the B+, a solid B. Because he was someone that after the first 5, 6, 7, 8 games, I was like, okay, I can trust this player to come off the bench and produce, whether that be offensively or defensively. It might not be both that night, but he is going to have an impact on the game. And so when both of those are more consistent and impacting the game on both sides of the floor, that's when he can go to the B+ and A for me. But I definitely see where he came from. I think he was undrafted and stuff like that. And, he was a third string kind of guy. So I get why you give him the A for sure.
And you got to give the Kings an A too on Keon Ellis because that was scouting, that's player development, and they did a great job with that.
What about Domas? That's the one I was itching to get out.
I'm giving Domas probably a 95.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'm right there with
the guy had a phenomenal year.
Solid.
He had only first of all, he plays every night. He had only a handful of unproductive games.
And even then he still manages to get like even a low double-double, like or very close to it, like 8, 9 rebounds and maybe like 12 points, which
the reason why I'm not giving him an A+ is because of his free throw shooting. Bingo. There were too many games where he did not deliver at the line, which could have won the game. And so I gotta take that into account. And so I'm giving him a 95. What are you giving him, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm right around your number, Grant. I tend to go a little bit lower, maybe like a 93. He was the only consistent in an inconsistent season for the Kings. I would have liked him to improve, and I'm going to sound like a complete asshole here. I would have loved to improve the jump shooting a little bit, work that mid-range game.
Agree, though. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, but the free throws, that's tough too. But
they give him way too much space, whether it be the mid-range or the 3-point line. So I agree with when it comes to improving his shot. The only time they close that distance is when he turns his back to the basket, because now it's post-up time. So now they're going to, try to keep you out that paint. So I agree 100% for sure. He needs to
And then
work
there's
on that.
Harrison Barnes.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. Go ahead,
let's
Jay.
not do
Jay,
the-
we've gone first a couple times, so you go first now.
He's on the spot.
Me?
Yes,
Yeah.
your turn.
Oh, Harrison Barnes? He had, I believe, 1 or 2 games. I don't remember exactly when, but he definitely stepped up to the plate when we needed scoring. I think it might have been the Orlando game when we went to double overtime. He definitely was someone that hit. I know for sure he hit a big shot in overtime. And I was like, okay, there's some flashes of what he was. I don't know if he can still be that, because he's getting older. But overall, defensively, that's an F. Offensively, that's probably a C. C, right on the cusp of a C minus. So if you just average that out, then you get a D. There you go.
All right. I'm going to give him a C+
Wow.
for this reason. Well, I'm going to tell you why. He plays every game, and he was a starter and played big minutes on a team that won 46 games. Okay?
Okay.
He does so many things for this team that don't show up in the box score, and I think he is underappreciated in Sacramento greatly. He is one of my favorite players on the Kings. Maybe I'm a little biased because I know him and I've been around him a lot,
Wow.
but I don't think he gets enough credit. I also think Ryan and Jerry have brought this point up a lot, and I think they're spot on. They don't do anything for Harrison. They never run a play for him, or rarely, and they don't take advantage of mismatches when Harrison Barnes has one on them, and I think that's more coaching than Harrison. So I'm going to give him a C+. Ryan, what direction are you going?
I can't go any lower than a B- for somebody that you
Wow.
said started 82 games for a team. 82 games. He's
Yep.
been around just as much, probably as Domas, if not more than Domas on that court. Grant, you hit the nail on the head with what he does in the locker room. When this team, one of the only things besides a Mike Brown timeout that could sometimes settle this team down was Harrison Barnes getting into the post at times, getting to the free throw line.
Yeah.
And making his free throws.
And making his free throws. Best free throw shooter on the team, Grant.
And in the fourth quarter, he rarely missed.
Rarely. So I just can't go any lower than that. Now, if you want to talk about usage, that's a completely different story. But as Grant said, that involves the coaches. And I do have to say, Jay, why do you give him an F on defense?
For his position and what he guards, which is the 3. Well, when you look at the traditional starting lineup since the beginning of the season, the 3, he's slow. He looks he doesn't look uncoordinated. He still shows flashes of athleticism, but that first step is not as quick as it was when I'm sure he was 23, 24 years old. And in my opinion, it shows when you're guarding someone else on like a OG Anunoby on the 3, or, there's plenty of other 3s that might not have the same veteran status or the same IQ, but then that's when the athleticism kind of outweighs the IQ. Is just blowing by your defender.
All right, let's move along because we want to get to some other callers. Let's end this with Kevin Huerter.
F.
Ryan?
D.
Beg your pardon?
D.
Okay. I'm going to give him a C-, but a low C-, right around, whatever the lowest of C-. I'm not going to, I guess that would be a 70, right? Or a 71 would be a C-.
Something like that, yeah.
71,
Maybe like 69.99. There you go.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to give him a 70. So that's where I'm grading him. I thought he had a very disappointing season. I think he went through too many funks. Again, I'm not going to give him a D, but I'm giving him just a whisker above a D. What about you, Jay?
F.
F? Okay.
Straight up F.
Okay.
Defense,
all right.
He's a liability on defense, and it's one thing if
Okay.
you're producing on the offensive end. Like, okay, cool, I'll let you slide a little bit on defense as long as you're being consistent on offense and you're doing something on the other side of the floor, vice versa. But both sides he wasn't contributing at all. So
all right, let's end this with one bench player because I think we all would give Malik Monk an A. Can we just agree we're going to give Malik Monk an A?
For sure.
All right, so what about Davion Mitchell? I'm going to go first here if you don't mind. Okay.
Go ahead.
I really like the way Davion Mitchell played in the final 6 weeks of the season.
Yes,
But
agreed.
Ryan knows this because I'm always constantly mentioning this. The season is not 20 games. The season is 82 games. Okay. I might give Davion on the Kings team now, not the NBA. I might give Davion the most improved player of the year award for the team. Okay. So, but for the totality of the year, I'm giving him a B- for the totality of the year.
Wow. That was generous. I thought you were going to go lower. Jay, what are you doing?
I'm actually going to give him a solid B. Knowing his position, knowing what he went through in the beginning of the season, not getting much tick or play time, putting people in like Keon Ellis over him at times. This guy's like brand new to the team, but Davion's been here for a few years. It's kind of like that would take a major toll mentally on a professional getting paid millions of dollars to do what they're doing. It's a major ego blow. And he was able to finish strong and not allow that to impact his way that he played at the end of the season, like Grant said. So I'm going to give him a
Ryan?
B.
Oh, okay, Ryan.
Yeah, Jay, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. With his shooting, he never wavered. Whether he was struggling or not, he still put the ball up. Mike Brown talks all the time about no hesitation, and he came through for his team when they needed him the most. So I got to go B-.
So can we call him the 10th man of the year award?
Hey, Jay, you're a pleasure to have on the show, man. You bring great
guys.
insight, and we appreciate having you on. Thank you very much.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys.
He's
Thanks,
good,
Jay.
man. Really good stuff. Hey, Ryan,
really
before we move on, I want to mention New Works Plumbing. If you have plumbing needs, plumbing repairs, they've got a fix for you. And all you need to do is go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. Remember, they're available around the clock 24/7. Sackserviceplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. And don't forget, Bennett's with 3 locations, Sacramento, Roseville, and this Westside Grill in Rockland. Prime seafood and steak, 60 different types of wine available by the glass. Phenomenal place for weekend brunch, the weekend prime rib. It's all there for you. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation and more. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. That was in a very, we've had a couple of really enjoyable calls and some very good questions. And it's kind of fun to see where we all put grades with some of the players. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. I love all the people that have just started participating. If you've been watching and thinking about participating, get in here. We love it. Hey, Baki, Baki's out of hiding now, right?
I do know he's out of hiding, and I want to get to this real quick. Yeah. The Kings won 46 games. Okay, they won 46 games. They missed the playoffs, but last year they won 48, and everyone had champagne bottles out. This year they won 2 fewer games, so I can't just discount that when I'm handing out the grades. Okay.
Yeah, it's fair. Lau usually brings a balanced approach, but yeah, I'm with you, Grant. Good explanation. Baki, we're going to bring you out for the last segment because we want to spend some extra time with you. Make sure you are all right, my friend. But Joey, we bring you up now. Welcome to the show.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of talk about 2 guys that in the preseason I was looking forward to their contributions, and that was Vezenkov and Duarte. I know you don't win or lose based on like your 9th or 10th guy, but to me those 2 were 2 guys that were pretty big, like definitely misses overall for the Kings for their addition.
Yep.
And like there was a lot of games I was watching where I was like, Duarte, you got to hit a shot, and he just never hit that big shot you need him to hit. And Vezenkov, he's new to the league, and I know Grant, it takes time for European players to come in, but he was, if those guys could have contributed a little more to the team, I feel like it could have been beneficial. So I would give those 2 each probably a D. Duarte and Vezenkov.
Yeah, I'm going to give them both Fs. I'm giving them both failing grades. Vezenkov to me was the most disappointing player on the Kings this year. And based on everything that we thought that he might be in terms of helping this team from the perimeter. And Duarte to me is just another guy. I've been saying this all year. He doesn't really make a difference whether you win or lose. He's just a guy on the bench. But I was not impressed at all with Duarte. He had a handful of a couple of good games. Maybe an F is a little bit too much. Maybe I should give him a D and Vezenkov an F. But to me, Sasha Vezenkov was a failure this year. That's how I look at him.
Unlike your professor Napes that gave you a pass in your.
Hang on a minute. Your mic is completely different now than when you were just away. So recalibrate your mic. Go ahead.
Are we better?
No, guys, do you agree with me on Ryan's mic, or it could
Are
be
we
just
better?
on my side?
Are we
Yeah,
better?
there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Much better. There you
Probably a
go.
restream thing. All right. So, what I was saying, like your professor at Bowling Green that gave you a pass in your lab,
Yes.
I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm not going to fail Sasha, but I'm going to give him an incomplete. And I just
Okay.
don't think we saw enough time from him this year. It's really hard to make a judgment, but the little things that I did see, I think he could possibly have a role on this team. He was able to move his feet a little bit on defense. He guarded up LeBron one time. And
But I didn't say he couldn't have a role on this team. I didn't say that.
I understand that, but I'm giving him an incomplete because when
Okay.
did he, other than I think it was the Oklahoma City game for the play-in where he came in and just went nuts. I could be wrong about the game, and he was the reason they got over the edge that night. That was probably the most playing time he got all season, Apes.
I would, now that you say incomplete, I would agree with you. I would change my grade from an F to an incomplete. I do agree with you. I think you're spot on. I think that's a great way of approaching this. So I think of all the players on the team, if we could only give out one incomplete, he'd be the guy. And I'm not down on him. I just think that he's overvalued because he was the European MVP. He's not a starter in this league. He's a role player. The scouts that scouted him and told me that were spot on. He can help this team, but he's a role player. He's not going to start in the NBA. I just don't ever see that for him.
Joey?
Yeah, no, I would agree. I don't want to call out. I don't know. Vezenkov, to me, at times, his effort didn't look like it was going 100% at times towards the end of the year.
He's coming off of 3 ankle sprains.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe it's like the whole team. There was a lot of lazy passes, and I don't know. I felt like there could have been better ball control overall for the whole team.
I never watched Vezenkov and said to myself, gee, the guy's not trying. That never entered my mind.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, no, I hope he can turn it around. And Duarte's got, he's a good defender too, but hopefully his shot can get better next year, and I hope they can turn it around.
Thank you for the call. We really appreciate that. Hey, before we get to Bucky, I want to talk to you about Gold Country Veterinary Hospital. They are in Auburn. They serve the foothills and, of course, the greater Sacramento area. The real key about Gold Country is when your pet needs urgent care, they are available. They do it all. The full-service hospital, from dentistry to surgery. They do emergencies. They have the latest in technology. They have the latest in pain protocol for your pet. They are awesome. Again, they do it all, from dentistry to surgeries to emergencies. And I just want you to always remember, when your pet needs urgent care, they are available. That's Gold Country Veterinarian Hospital in Auburn. And we also want to thank Fosters and Paws for being with us. And they have puppies available for adoption. They are a group of passionate animal advocates. They deal primarily with dogs in shelters. They're great with young people, teach them the lifelong benefits of owning a pet. And again, they're looking for donors, fosters, and adopters. Go to fostersandpaws.org/adopt and adopt yourself a puppy. All right, you ready for Mr. Serbia himself, Mr. Belgrade?
I am. I have missed him. He's probably not in the best of moods. Baki, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Yo, guys. Well, first thing, I didn't I'm not hiding. I mean, I didn't hide, especially from this show we have, because this show you have, it's not only the playoff contender, but it's championship stuff. So, great stuff, guys, from you.
Thank you.
As always. The thing is just about disappointment. So just imagine the amount of it. I never missed playoff from my 12 year. So this is the first time I'm done with watching the basketball for this year.
Wow.
I'm waiting for November and the new season. So let's see what will happen. Okay.
I'm shocked to hear that.
I know.
That shocks me.
It shocked a lot of my friends, because I have a lot of calls from the people asking me, what is with you? This has never happened. You are missing great games. You live for the NBA playoffs. You live for the basketball. This is absolutely not normal situation. But for me, this year it's normal. It's
Well,
unbelievable.
now you can get ready for the French Open.
Who- Thank you, Grant. I'm always. I think that's the only thing I will never be full of. Tennis, Grand Slam,
Yep.
and I think you understand.
Yes, I completely
Uh,
understand.
yeah. So, uh, okay, let's switch a little bit to our team. Uh, my okay, I think, and it came on my mind. I think I have a question which may tell us a lot about which direction this team should turn the ship go. So listen carefully now. Excluding De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and Domas Sabonis, from all the other players, which one of them would you take to go one-on-one and solve the play you have? So let's stick to one of those. Would it be Kevin Herter? Would it be Keegan Murray? It will be Harrison Barnes, Keon Ellis, or maybe Devion Mitchell.
You're asking me.
So you have the play. Okay, let's imagine one possession. You have the play. So which one of them you will take to go one-on-one and solve the stuff?
So the question is, if we take Domas and Fox are fouled out, we can't take them, or Monk. If there's
Or
one
Monk.
shot left in the game, who are you?
Yeah, those three.
Who are you going to, Napes?
Yeah.
It's a
Would
great
you like to
question.
go?
I mean, I'm not going to Davion Mitchell. His offense to me is too inconsistent.
So you have 4 players. So will be Kevin Herter,
probably
Murray,
going
Barnes,
Kevin
or
Herter.
Ellis.
I'm probably going Kevin Herter, but Harrison Barnes is an option too.
We're talking. I want to make sure that we're clear here. It's a one-on-one play. We're not
Yeah,
talking
it's a
about gets
one-on-one
open
play.
for the last
If it's a
second shot.
one-on-one play, I'm going with Harrison Barnes because
Exactly.
Wait,
Thank you.
guys, please. So that not means that the play must finish with that player particularly finish the action. So he can go, he can shoot, he can dribble out, he can.
I'm
he
still
can
going
lay
Harrison
up.
Barnes. I'm
Okay.
still going Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
What
By a long
about
shot.
you, Ryno?
I'm with Grant. It's Harrison Barnes all day. He probably out of that group would be the closest to an activator. Keegan Murray's trying to get there. That's where Keegan's game needs to go, but it's Harrison. I mean, can we just be real? And Bucky, this isn't an indictment on you, but how different is the view of Harrison Barnes in Sacramento if that 3-ball goes down last season?
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah, but 3 balls are 3 balls. But we're about going one-on-one or going into the paint or going to produce something from the normal point of basketball. So okay, you made it clear because I heard what I wanted to hear. So all 3 of us are the same. We're gonna go with Harrison Barnes or maybe with Herder. So let's stick to Keegan Murray now. So do you think his moves are gonna be better in few years? And if you do, please tell me why. Because I analyze it from the motoric side, and since it's my specialty and my education, motorics, biomechanics, anthropometrics.
Okay, let's just deal with the evolution of a player. How many players, Bucky, normally do not get better after their second year? The majority of players in the NBA, particularly starters, get better after their second year. They get better in their second year than their first year. They get better in their third year than their second year. They get better in their fourth year than their third year for the most part. Okay, so if I'm going to just go by that aspect of natural progression in a player, yes, he'll get better because he's only been in the league 2 years. Why would I think that he would not get better? Like, he hasn't reached his ceiling yet. You don't think he's reached the ceiling, do you?
But of course you're gonna get Keegan Murray better next and next and next year. And somebody can go on statistics and compare the first year with second, with third, with fourth, and etc. But what's my point here is his biomechanics, his anthropometrics, his motorics, because I think I'm on the edge to give you the statement here that he's never gonna improve those motorics. That's my point. Because
Here's my
we need
take.
to play. We need a player who will go and put the fear into the opponents, so they think about what should our defense looks like in the moment when this type of player attacks. So
All right,
if
hang
you,
on, Ryan. Go ahead.
yeah,
Let Ryan get in here.
Baki, that you know this as well as anybody, Grant, you too. The NBA is about getting to spots. It is getting to your spots. Keegan doesn't
exactly.
even know his spots yet. That is where
Bravo.
the improvement is going to come. Give him another couple years. He hasn't been a featured player in this offense. He just camped out behind the three-point line last year. That's what he did, and he was great at it. The best rookie ever. But you got to give him some time, Bach.
You did a great point right now, but okay, tell me whatever spot in the field you want, and how do you see he's gonna get it? I mean, uh, I don't think he's the player who can improve. Some players have some players are very very fast. Some of them are not that fast but have great acceleration. From you have the first first three steps with the ball, which determines what will happen in the continuation of the on the possession. So I don't think Keegan Murray can be better in that motorics
I
in
totally
general.
disagree. I think he can be better in every aspect of the game,
Yeah,
except for maybe,
yeah.
I mean, including defense, because he's going to learn the players' moves even more. And right now,
Mhm.
he's a very good defensive player. I
Oh,
disagree with you on every single thing you're saying. I think he will get better. I think he'll get better in every single aspect of the game. He's only played 2 years in the league. If you just judge his improvement from this year to last year, if he
no,
could do that just even in the next 2 years and then hit his ceiling, that would be tremendous for this franchise.
no. I think we misunderstood like this because okay, I'm with you. He's gonna improve in any segment, in every segment. He's gonna improve. That's normal. He's very young and
Baki, you don't
he's
see the explosiveness. Is that what you're getting at?
absolutely no explosiveness, and that's something which come with you from the born. I mean, he can learn, he can get some experience more, and but those moves and those things that some great players are doing on the court, I don't see it. Sorry.
Well, not every great player has to be explosive as we think about explosive. You don't have to be Anthony Edwards, freaky athletic all the time, but Keegan is so steady, he just brings the same effort. And for me, watching an NBA player do that, that's sometimes different. Sometimes it's like this. But the other thing is his strength. Look at how much stronger he got from year one to year two. If I am Mike Brown, I am putting Keegan Murray. He was with De'Aaron Fox last offseason. I'm putting him with Harrison Barnes this offseason. Harrison last offseason worked a ton on his floater. He worked a lot 10 feet and in, doing the same thing with Keegan.
I see Harrison Barnes are more explosive than as a veteran from Keegan Murray. Okay, it's only second year of Keegan Murray. Okay, we need to wait. I'm with you on that, but I don't know. I think he's. By the way, those guys are kicking those Pelicans by 30. Is that?
Hey, you know what? Without Zion Williamson going against the number one seed, the Pelicans are going to be lucky to win a game. They had their chance
Okay.
in game one. I said this before the game started. I thought whether it would be the Kings or the Pelicans, they would have a real good opportunity to win game one because it's too long of a rest. And I thought that with their playoff jitters, a whole week off. I thought game one could be stolen. They didn't. They almost did, and they didn't. They're not going to win the series now. They're not. If they had Zion Williamson, I would give them a 40 to 45% chance of winning that series. Without Zion Williamson, I give them no chance.
You know how some people, especially Kings fans, would go now and say we would not lose this team by 30 in this.
So what? They would lose the game by 1 point. It doesn't matter. The reality is Kings fans can say whatever they want. They're not in the playoffs. They had their chances, and they got no one to blame but themselves. Baki, we appreciate the heck out of you, man. It's always good for you to join the program. I'm sorry you're not watching the NBA playoffs, but I'm not either. I'm watching the Stanley Cup playoffs. So if I don't know if you're in a hockey, okay, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
I'm on. Bye.
Appreciate you. Appreciate it. Hey, Ryan, before we move on, I want to get to Sunrise Landing and CalusaSunrise.com. This is the newest residential community in Calusa. It is a 5-phase project, okay? And it has different lot sizes ranging all the way up to 16,000 square feet. We're talking about beautiful, spacious interiors, quality craftsmanship, affordability, and community, located adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. And you have easy access to Highway 20, Highway 45, and I-5. It is, whoops, sorry about that. I hit the wrong one. It is Sunrise. Maybe I'll get Brian to build a restaurant there in Calusa.
Yeah.
It is Sunrise Landing in Calusa. If you go to CalusaSunrise.com, you can get all the information. That's CalusaSunrise.com. Maybe I'm going to call up Brian right now and throw that idea into him. Why the heck not? But we appreciate it. We appreciate all the calls. We've had a really good show. This has been a lot of fun.
We have. Can you ask Brian for an extra New York Prime, please, to go? That would be great. Hey, before we get to Dirk, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about our friends at InVision Web Design. Do you have a website? Do you have a business? Do you want your website to work more functionally for you? Max and his team will work it out for you, and they are always there. They like to personalize the experience to each person, and they have got us up and running and optimized really well. So give Max and the guys a call at InVision Web Design at InVisionDesigns.com. They do a great job, and seriously, if you are not a tech person, Max is the person to call.
Awesome. We appreciate Max. And why don't we wrap up the show with Dirk? He'll be our last caller.
Let's do it. Dirk, welcome in. Let's wrap it up, buddy.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, I couldn't have disagreed more about Baki on Keegan Murray. I mean, watching his first year, he felt so one-dimensional with the three-pointer, and I felt like he would miss shots at the hoop. So going into the second season, I was like, okay, let's see how much he develops. Not only was he now dunking around the basket,
Great point.
he has the rate. And I don't know if anyone anticipated he becomes a 33rd, or he starts at a 33rd percentile on-ball defender to the top 10% on-ball defense. At 6'8", he's capable of shooting 41% from three at volume. Give the guy a year to grow into his new athletic body and get used to a shot again.
Yeah, I think the 41% is obtainable but unrealistic. So I don't think we should expect that from him. But certainly the word I'm looking for is consistency. I want to see his offensive game be more consistent. I think if he can develop into a more consistent offensive player, he could be an all-star type player.
I think he's fringe all-star. I think that's peak, but that's not.
No, he's not a fringe all-star in my opinion. But he could be an all-star. I don't think.
Isn't Rudy Gay a good comp, guys? Dirk and Grant.
Is he a good what?
I said, isn't Rudy Gay a decent comp for Keegan? What he could be?
Well, Rudy Gay.
Rudy to me, yes, and Rudy was right on the cusp of being an all-star.
Right.
Could never get there, and a lot of it was because of the teams that he was on. But yes, and Rudy was a very consistent offensive player.
I could just see Keegan getting some backdoor cuts, like, with how explosive I perceive him to be when he goes up and tries to dunk on guys. It'd be amazing if we could get him running the baseline, get a quick distribution from Sabonis out the middle, to go right into a dunk. And I think this team needs to find ways to get easy buckets. And I think I will predict right now Keegan's averaging 18 points next year.
That'd be
Anybody want to
perfect.
take me up on that?
No, Jerry Reynolds says that's the number that he needs to get to, and I think 18 points a game is very obtainable for him.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm not ready for the season to be over. I think a lot of Kings fans aren't. You know, today watching the exit interviews kind of put the nail in the coffin for me. So I'm scouring the league looking for free agents who are going to fit here. You know, and it's crazy. I'm worried about who's coming up behind us. Memphis seems to be a center away, and there are tons of centers on the free agent market this year. I know they're going to be up there, but hey, good news about that too. Every other team in the West that was ahead of us will also have to play the Memphis Grizzlies. Some of them more than we do, in fact. So it's going to be
I think
just
the Kings
like
ought to start worrying
year,
about themselves and instead of who they have to play. I think they now know what they need to do. They understand what's ahead. The question is, can the offseason, can they do it? I mean, they're going to have to start putting together a better team. And if not, unfortunately, we'll probably be talking about this same scenario next April. So we appreciate the phone call very much. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, Dirk.
All right, I can't do this to John. I have to let John be the last call because John is, John is the man. So we got to have John on. Go ahead, hit him up, Brian.
John.
All right, John, you'll be our last call.
You're
We're going to go out
kidding me,
with,
boys.
we're either
Am
going
I
to go
going
out
to
with a
finish this
bang.
thing off?
We're going to either go out. Stop. We're either going to go out with a bang or we're going to go out with a thud. It's up to you. Go ahead, buddy.
It'll be a bang or a thud, no question about it. Well, hey, I appreciate you back. Talking Edge. He needs to get back into basketball. He can't go cold turkey like that. It's like you talked to you.
Baki needs to talk some sense into me most of the time because the guy's a basketball crazy fan and he's extremely knowledgeable. So I'm okay with his opinion. I didn't agree with it, but I'm okay with it.
Yep. Hey, myself as well, Grant, and I agree with a lot of things he says, but sometimes it's a little off the wire. And I've got a thing. You got everything, and my phone just died, guys.
All right. Well, see, we didn't go out with a bang. We went out with a thud. See, I was hoping to go out with a bang, but instead we went out with a thud. Our last caller's words, my phone died, guys. That's how we end the freaking show. My phone died, guys.
I got you, Napes.
Holy moly, Jimbo Bowley.
Baki's daughter picked us up.
That's called going out with a bang. Ryno, great show. Appreciate you. And to all of our callers and all of the folks on the chat line, thank you very much. We appreciate the heck out of you. We'll talk to you soon. Remember, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. But if you subscribe, you always will know when we're got content coming down the pike. Ryan, appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you as well, Nate. See everybody tomorrow at 2:00.